all fixed up. Get all pretty.
Yeah.
Hi, welcome back to Faith on the Spectrum. My name is Beth, and I'm doing a video that a lot of you requested. On my Instagram poll, there was a question of what you wanted to see next, and by far the biggest winner was Autism and Friendship. And I wanted to do it earlier, but I was like, this is something that would be better if I had someone to talk to, you know? And so I finally had the opportunity to have a friend over, and I asked if she wanted to do it. She's like, yeah, let's do it. So this is one of my closest friends. This is Adri.
Yes, hello.
She's absolutely incredible, and I know I talk a lot about autism with her. I talk a lot about faith with her, and I just am so thankful to know you. I really am.
I'm so thankful to know you.
Thank you. It's been just hard to not see each other super often like we would want to, but when we do get together, it's a lot of fun.
Yes.
I will preface this video by saying that we have followed all necessary precautions for COVID. We have both been isolated, and we have both recently tested negative. I think just the point of this video is just kind of talking back and forth, having a conversation about what autism and friendship, what they have to do with each other, what your experience with that, my perspective with that, all these kinds of things.
Yeah.
If you are cool with that, you want to just tell them about your major? This is also pretty related.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm studying applied behavioral science, and I'm doing a concentration in early childhood autism intervention. So getting to work closely with children who are on the spectrum, and it's just been really cool to learn more and more about autism and about how people experience life. And so it's been really cool having Beth as my friend, because I come to her asking just questions that are super interesting to me, because I'm studying all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then here is a live Q&A person. I can just ask you all my questions, and and so you just do a great job of answering them and being so open and clear about the things that you've experienced, and just how you feel. So it's been really cool.
And that's one of the things is I really didn't become very open about being autistic until this last semester. And we just kind of went through we both met. We initially lived in the same scholarship hall together for a little bit, and then I moved out of the scholarship hall because it's not my roommates were bad. They were really great. They were good people. I just cannot share a room, and it was so crowded. I could never be alone, and it was always noisy because those girls like to yell.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah, it was loud, for sure.
See, you were the ones I didn't mind it, though. There were some people I'm can you all stop screaming for a minute, please? I want to sleep.
Yeah. I think that it is a very hard environment to just come into, especially you were coming in,
year,
and right after, it was spring semester, right?
Yeah, it was the beginning of spring semester.
So I think that it was just a hard environment to get, find your group, and find, and it's hard living with people so closely, and there's 50 girls in the hall, so it's just a lot. It's a lot of things all at once. Yeah. So I totally understand how, it wasn't the best, it wasn't the most fun place all the time.
All great. I moved out into the apartment on my own, and we kind of would I would see stuff in the group chat when I was still at the scholarship hall with you before I left the chat. I started going to meetings with our campus ministry, and I found out she was part of that, and she invited me to a Bible study that she was doing as part of that ministry. And I was like, yeah, I'd love to come with you, but I live really far away now. And the first time I walked over there, she's like, you need to stop walking there. Let me pick you up. You're you do not need to do that, Beth.
Yeah.
Especially
up some hills.
Yeah. Not my favorite. It was not my favorite. But yeah, so we started doing that every week, and we just kind of kept growing closer as friends. And then, going back to school, we'd see each other a lot. And then COVID happened, and we ended up I don't know, it's not we lost touch or anything, but she also did study abroad in Australia. So she was out there for a long time. So it was, the only interaction we had was really seeing your fun pictures on Instagram, living your best life. And here I am,
stuck in quarantine.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not.
No, you're not. I think like this past semester we've really like grown being in the same small group, and we've just been really like speaking more deeply about like the Bible and things that we're, you know, dealing with like with school and everything like that. And it's just been really good to like have someone I know I can tell everything to.
Yeah, I feel the same way, because it's like, you know, you have people that you see all the time, but very rarely are they those people that you can really share like all the deep parts of your heart and what, you know, your inner emotions, the things that you're like dealing with, and you want to share that with people, but also you don't want to like burden them, but it's like nice to have people that, you know, I'm not going to be a burden. I can just share what I'm feeling.
Absolutely.
So I've definitely felt that.
That's good.
It's wonderful.
Love hearing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's definitely been not the rock, but a rock for me, for sure. I'm grateful that I have people I can really lean into when I need that spiritual help. So, you know, it's, you know, a big struggle with being autistic is that like, because we tend to not have a huge circle of friends, our small circle of friends we form very strong attachments with. And it was really bad, I know, when I was younger. And so it's like really nice to like, I don't have to just be like, I can only talk to this one person or only talk to these two people. Like I have people I can talk to that know different things about like me. It's just different. You know everything about me at this point, honestly. I'm an open book, man. Yeah, you're studying like autism in particular, which is awesome. We need more people that are willing to like come in and start with the early interventions, because that's really key for working with kids with autism.
Yeah.
Just of any like, you know, assistance need level, because like the terms, I'll talk about it in another video, but like the terms like high functioning, low functioning are extremely damaging. And so the terms I prefer to use are like, you know, requires fewer assistance needs or requires more assistance needs. So I'm autistic and I require, you know, fewer assistance needs. Like I live independently, like I can drive, I can do taxes, like stuff like that. And I can't do them. I do TurboTax, but
Oh, me too.
I think like with me, I think a big part of me, you know, having that independence was definitely with like people who wanted to like help me gain those independent skills and start really early with me. You know, I'm not sure how, you know, because you did your practicum last semester, and are you doing it again this semester?
Yeah.
Is it going to be about the same schedule?
Yeah, I'm working in the mornings, and this time it's different because before I was working in a classroom with toddlers who, you know, they don't have any diagnosis or anything, but it's a just mix of like just kids who are typically developing and kids who, you know, have shown some things of like behavioral and developmental, you know, things. So it's like a mixture of the classroom. So it was a very different environment, and it was getting to work with all of the kids, and that was so fun for me. And now I'm getting to work with one kid, one-on-one, and so it will be like working on just a bunch of tasks and kind of doing more what I want to do. So I'm going to be working like as a RBT, registered behavioral technician, and get to really work one-on-one with a kid. I don't know who it is yet, but I am just so excited about that because it's so much more personal. Yeah, for sure. And it's just really special when you get to know someone more than just like, you know, when there's 10 kids in the classroom, you're getting to know each and every one of them, but they don't have that like discrimination or anything like, you know, discriminatory, you know, things in their mind. Like they're just like, oh, friend, play, like, yes, I love, you know, like
they're the best. They really
amazing.
Are. Before you started in your program, did you ever know anybody with autism?
I did. I knew a few people like in my elementary school and like growing up, you know, who were on the spectrum, but I was never like close friends, like, you know, like you and I are. So it's kind of like the first time like I get to really like know you and ask questions and be experiencing that like friendship, deep friendship side, because I think that I've always like been friends and known people who were on the spectrum, but
I don't know. You probably didn't, did you know I was autistic, like, when you first
I
met me?
didn't.
Yeah.
No.
I feel like most people don't.
No.
Like, and I think that that's really, like, important. Is, like, we don't all look the same, and we don't all have the same, behaviors, like, what kind of speech we use, how we move, like, our adaptive skills, like, we're all different in that, and you can't really, there's no one size fits all, and that's the really interesting thing I think about autism. I don't know, like, what was your reaction when I ended up, like, how did I even tell you I had autism? Did I just, like, say it?
I think we were in small group, and you shared, like, pretty open about it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, okay. Like, you know,
Yeah.
it kind of was like, I, you know, wouldn't have been like, it wasn't something that I would have guessed, but I was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I think that's definitely why you gotta find your tribe when you're in school, guys. Like, really, like, it's just so amazing, especially, like, if you're a believer, you really need to find that group of other believers, because they're not gonna care whatever's going on. And I think it was only really, like, this past semester I was really more open about, or I guess the past year, like, I've been more open about being autistic. You know, as I talk more and more about it, that's kind of how my friend told me, you need to talk about this. You need to start a YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was, like, you and then, like, 2 other friends that were like, you need to, like, write a book or be on YouTube or something like that. So I'm like, I don't want to write, so I guess we're doing a YouTube. Yeah. I think with me, like, I just kind of am more open about it because I know that, like, you know, people are not mind readers, and people may not always understand why I might get overwhelmed at things, or why I might not want to do some things, or I'm, like, really into other things, or I have obsessive special interests.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I felt like it was more helpful in being a friend to you to know kind of what you were feeling and how you were, you know, if we were in a place that was, like, too much stimuli around you, it's just, like, so overwhelming. Like, you know, it became easier as I got to know you to, like, notice that, because before, you know, it wouldn't be on my radar. I wouldn't be, like, thinking about it.
It's crazy. Like, across the room, she can tell when I'm off, like, and she'll be like, what can I do to help? I think that that's just a really big thing in interabled friendships, in neurodiverse of, I don't even have the right word for that. I don't know. Terms change all the time, though, so this could totally be different, like, 2 years from now.
Yeah.
Or a year from now. Who knows?
Yeah, I feel like I'm just slowly learning all of the terms, and, like, but there's some things I'm like, oh, I've never heard that before. Like, tell me about what that means.
Yeah. I had a question, and then I totally lost it because I'm really good at doing that.
You're really good at it. Way to go.
What are, like, the things that, like, talking to me more and, like, hanging out with me more, like, what was that, like, anything that, like, surprised you, I guess?
I think that, like, whenever I was little, I don't know if this is what everybody experienced or not, but I felt like there was a stereotype a little bit that, like, people who were on the spectrum were, like, more introverted or, like, quieter. I just totally, like, didn't see any of that with you. She's so extroverted and, like, wants to be around people and wants to share her stories, her life, like, and so I think that I was very, like, oh, like, duh, why would I think that? Like, why would I think that everybody was, you know, one certain way, or that, you know, whatever. I think that it's a lot easier for me to, like, notice whenever you're, like, not having a good time, when you're, you know, like, I think that I just expected to maybe not know what's going on and not that I know what's going on.
Right.
But it's, like, there's little, like, hints in your, you know, some tells that you have that it's, like, oh, I can notice, like, something is up, and something is, or that even she's, you know, uncomfortable with the situation or needs some time away. But I think before I would think I'm just I'm not prepared. I don't know how to help, you know, at all. But I think that it's become easier and easier as I've gotten to know you, and every person, you know, has different ways of showing that. And so, you know, just because I see that in you doesn't mean I'm, like, the wizard for knowing everybody who, you know.
Yeah, I mean, like, I probably have at least 10 stories of, like, how she could figure out that, like, I think the most recent one that I can think of is last month, like, towards the end of the semester, all of us girls went from our campus ministry, we all went together to a Mexican restaurant. And first off, I really don't like Mexican food. I just don't, which I know is, like, heartbreaking to you. That's one of my sensory things, is I just don't do spicy foods very well. It hurts, and, like, I just don't like it, you know?
Yeah.
But we went on a Friday night, and it was, Friday night, it's busy there. And even with, like, social distancing restrictions, like, it was getting busy in there, especially towards the end of the meal. And I don't even know if there was music playing because everybody was so loud. But I think I remember hearing some music playing, and then more and more people came in. And there was just so much commotion going on in the back, and I was just so nervous about it. I ordered food and I didn't even eat it. And it just became so much. And so, like, I ended up sitting there, like, I was, like, snapping my fingers more. That's kind of one of my things is I'll just sit in my chair, just kind of snap my fingers. But I was getting very stressed with everything that was going on. And I was sitting next to Adri, not just staring there, honestly. And she was like, hey, what's going on? And, like, are you okay? I'm like, no, I'm really not okay right now. She's like, you need to talk to me. What's going on? And I kind of told her that it was, like, really loud in there. And I was getting stressed out. And, like, the first thing you said was, like, we're almost done eating. We're going to wait and we're going to get our tab. And then we're going to pay it. And then we're going to leave. And then we're going to figure out what we're going to do after that. From the outside, that might have looked like patronizing. But, like, it's so, like, it really got me. It made me have something to look forward to so that I knew I wouldn't be stuck in that forever. Because if I can't get away from the environment, then I, like, want to shrink down and figure out what's happening next when I'm able to get away from that. And so, like, that was, like, one of the things that, like, it was, like, wow. Like, that's just the fact that you noticed that and you knew to, like, help me in that situation where I was so, like, stressed that I couldn't even eat. Like, I'm friends with her roommate, too. She's awesome. And we were talking, and she was asking me if I wanted to come over to your place. And I was like, that would probably be really nice. And so I had that to look forward to also. But just knowing that, like, you were able to see, like, when it may not have been obvious to anybody else, but you were like, something's up with Beth. I think there's something sensory going on. Like, I think that she's probably getting really, like, stressed about something. So I need to figure out what I can do to, like, help her. That means, like, everything. That's one of, like, the biggest things is just to ask what you can do. Being friends with someone who's autistic, you're not always gonna know, like, when something's gonna happen. Like, when I'm, like, really close to the edge, it's not easy to tell. I've had that happen before where I just get so, like, stressed or scared or overwhelmed that I just don't even talk, which is weird because she's been over for, like, almost 24 hours and I have not shut the heck up. I am a talker.
Sure.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, have you found that there are, like, certain things that make you or help you to, like, calm yourself and, feel better whenever you're in those situations where you're just overstimulated? Or is it kind of different every time?
Yeah, it's a little bit more, like, case by case. If I can get away from the situation, I do like to take breathers, like, and I feel like that's not even really exclusively an autistic thing. I think that a lot of people do that. Like, you're just like, I need to be away from people.
Yeah.
For me, it's not always just people. It's the environment. Yeah, the environment, really. Because the environment can be extremely overstimulating depending on where I am. And so removing myself is a really good way. If I can't remove myself, having someone to talk to is really helpful. Like I said, I would just snap my fingers, like, stuff like that. Or if I have like a fidget, like, I will use that. Like, I have a couple of them. Like, I have a sensory brush over there, which is really cool to have. I'll have to show it sometime. Or I have, like, a spinner, or I have, like, a fidget cube, like, just something to, like, not take me away from the situation, but really, like, give my mind something else to work on as I work through the processing. Because I think the biggest part about it is, like, processing all the information around me. And when I can't process it, that's when it gets, like, stressful.
Yeah, but just asking, like, what do you need in this situation, and
it's really helpful. I'm not always, like, perfect in social situations. Like, I definitely have troubles there. I hope not.
I'm not. I can definitely tell you that.
Mostly in, like, those situations, it's best to just kind of ask, like, in the moment what I can do to help. But I know there was, like, another situation where we were all at one of our friends' houses. We just had an impromptu movie night. I'm like, I'm not doing anything. And you're like, just come over. I'm like, I guess I'm inviting myself over. And I'm not sure quite, like, what had happened, but something had, like, bothered me, and it wasn't with you. I don't know who it was with. I really don't. But, like, I left, and I didn't want to come back for, like, 10-15 minutes. Like, I think I just got overwhelmed about something, because I think I had other things on my mind. But, like, I just kind of left, and didn't know, I don't know if I even wanted anybody looking for me. I was in the bathroom for like ever, just sitting there. You know, it was like, you know, once I was able to get out of that environment and come back in, before it got really loud and we started playing Rock Band, like, I think that was kind of like that reset moment, you know? And then after I came home, one of our friends told me that she had noticed it, and she's like, I, you know, wish I could have asked you in this situation, but I just couldn't. You know, if this happens in the future, what do you want me to do? And like, I probably would have been like, oh, because I'm like, I don't know. But she gave me like a list of things that I could do. I love lists. If you give me a list, like, that's the way to my heart, honestly.
Oh, keep that in mind.
Yeah, like, especially like, I don't know, when I am overwhelmed, if I just have like this small thing of options, I guess, just knowing, you know, that I don't have to think of an answer completely on my own, especially when I'm like really overwhelmed, like that's not whatever.
Yeah.
But she like kind of gave me these options of like what she could do next time to help that. And like, those are the important things. It's really just knowing your friend well enough to like kind of, if you're not able to like see things like when they're happening, just talking about it afterwards, just see like if they are okay. And I think that's true in any friendship. Just check on people, just check on your friends, because we're all going through life together at, you know, the same time and in the same space, and we all need help from time to time, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, what are things that you like love in friendships, and what are things that, like, you know, aren't the best for you? But it's kind of a very vague question, and you answered, like, you know.
I think I answered a lot of it. I think the really big thing is, like, don't give, like, if you're upset with me, I want you to just straight up tell me. Like, if I did something that, the biggest thing is I'm almost never gonna know that I did it. We can't grow as people if we don't talk to each other about these growths. And I mean, it's gonna happen in friendships. Like, someone's gonna do something to the other person or about the other person, and it's gonna be like, I didn't like that, like. But if you, like, stay quiet about that, you're just going to let that resentment build, and then they're not going to know, and you're just going to feel like they're keeping on hurting you, and then you're like, is that on purpose, or, like, what? Yeah, just straight up talk to me. I don't like the silent treatment. I don't like it. Even if I say no, just keep including me in plans. Like, that's really, you know, it's enough. It's a lot to know that you think of me, and you want me to be part of it. Be honest about, like, what you're thinking, and if you wanted to talk to me about something, you just kind of talk to me about it, and don't be put off if I, like, interject a lot. Like, it makes it seem like I'm about myself, because it's like, that's not it. That's, like, how I relate to people, is I tend to, like, say, like, I know that too, and I'll give a situation, and it's like, you know, I'm not trying to, like, bogart the conversation or anything.
Yeah,
because it can seem...
your stories, your experiences.
Yeah, just to let you know I know what you're going through.
Yeah.
Things like that. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you something that we learn about in our classes, is just that, like, it's really important for people on the spectrum to have, like, their, you know, commitments stay. Like, the time you say you're gonna go, like, that you would be there, and that kind of thing. How has it, like, how have you felt whenever people change plans on you and make, you know? I
think, like, now, like, within this past year, I've learned to be, like, way more okay with plans changing last minute, just because of the nature of this virus.
Yeah.
You know, if something were to have happened and you wouldn't have been able to come over because you found out that you were, you know, a close contact, like, I would have been really sad that you couldn't have come over, but I would have totally understood. I would have been like, I don't want you over.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's hard for me in the moment, though, like, because I think about it, like, because I know the reason might be perfectly logical. Like, friends that were gonna come over, but they canceled because they had been throwing up all night. Like, I'm like, I don't want you over if you've been throwing up all night. But, like, I'm still, like, really bummed, because it's like, we can't see each other that often anyway, and now we have to, like, cancel the plans again. Like, in that moment, I might seem like I'm mad at you, but I'm not. I'm mad that the situation had to happen, that I couldn't see you. I don't really get mad at people much. I get frustrated, like, when I don't understand something, or, like, things have to change. Just give me as advance of a notice as you can, and then that way I can work on that, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think that's, like, the big thing. Just, again, just talking to your autistic friend, and just kind of seeing, like, what would help, like, in this, like, in that situation, if something like that were to happen. Because no matter what, we're gonna find a way to tell you what we're feeling, because we're notoriously bad at lying.
Especially you.
I'm a very bad liar.
My question was, if you do you ever get like overstimulated when you're by yourself, or is it always like around people?
It does happen sometimes when I'm like by myself, but it's almost always in an environment where there are other people around.
Okay.
Like, I think the last time that happened, I hadn't slept the night before. I don't know. It had something to do spiritually, I think, because I was just like feeling lost about like where I'm going in life, and I just spent so much time like just staring at the ceiling and then going to like, you know, distractions like Hulu or like Spotify, like just trying to drown it out. Trying to drown out the fears, I guess. And so I didn't sleep that night before. And I had to go to Walmart in the morning because I had to get some, like, groceries. Like, I had no food in my apartment. I'm like, I need some food. And I've been putting off grocery shopping for, like, a week now. And I'm gonna starve if I don't get something. So I had to go to Walmart. And I'm like, well, I'm already up. So I guess, you know, as soon as Walmart opened, which was at, like, 8, like, I went over there. And it was terrible. And I wish I hadn't done that. I went there, and the first thing was just, the lights were just so bright. But then there were just a lot of people there that early in the morning. It was very weird. And then just, like, you know, the sounds that don't normally bother me, like carts and stuff, like, those were just really loud. And then I couldn't find what I was looking for, and so I was getting frustrated with that. And I ended up, you know, getting what I needed, just going as fast as I could, you know, do self-checkout as fast as I could. And then I got back to my apartment. Like, I put, like, the cold stuff away, and I left the stuff in the, like, that didn't need refrigeration in the bags. And I just cried. Just straight up just started bawling because I was so overwhelmed. You know, didn't have my weighted blanket at the time. I got a weighted blanket for Christmas.
Oh, nice.
I know. I was so happy. So I, like, wrapped myself really, really tight in blankets and cried, and I put on one of my comfort movies, which is My Neighbor Totoro, and I just let it play, and I fell asleep. That seemed to reset me okay. I, like, slept for, like, well past that movie. I think I slept for, like, 3 hours, and that was at like 9 in the morning, so all of this happened before noon. I guess that's all to say, like, it's almost always is when I'm in busy environments with like other people, I guess, or if I'm overwhelmed by how much there is in an environment. That's kind of long story short, I guess. I don't know, I had another one. That's going to. So I think, like, the biggest takeaway for people who are trying to, like, understand how to be a better friend to their friend with autism is just, like, speak very directly. If something's bothering you, just say something, because most of the time we're not going to know we're doing it. Be there just when you are with them, or just check up on them sometimes. I know, like, anxiety and depression are often a comorbidity of autism, especially, like, in adults. It's, you know, I have severe anxiety. It's always been part of me. And, you know, just checking in on your friends when you haven't heard from them in a while, or like just whatever. I mean, anything, like, just let them know that you're, you know, you don't hate them. No, I know it's not true, but like, there's other people that I've like talked to. I'm like, they haven't texted me in like 2 days. They probably hate me. They don't want to talk to me anymore. Like, that's not true, but our brains might want to tell us that it is. So just check up on them, especially if you know they're going through something stressful, or they have a lot on their plate, and just don't be offended if we're like, I really don't want to go hang out with you, like, because it's gonna have it. I can guarantee you it's nothing to do with you. Yeah. You know, include them in plans, and don't be afraid to ask questions, because if you don't know how to help us, then you're not going to help us. And probably any way that you think you're gonna help, it's probably not the right way. Probably not. Might make it worse. At the same time, I don't know, I can't speak for absolutely every autistic person in the world. That's ridiculous. But if you explain it well enough, we're very forgiving. And we learn quickly about, like, rules or social rules or stuff like boundaries. That's another thing. I think a lot of people think that, like, autistic people always have problems with boundaries. And I think it was true for me, like, a couple years ago. But, like, at this point, I'm like, if you don't want me, like, I'm a huge hugger, like, big time. If you don't want me to hug you or, like, cuddle with you, like, you need to just tell me, because I won't. Very rarely am I like, don't talk to me. Don't look at me. Like, you know, being like, you know, I need to spend some time away from my phone, or, like, you know, I think I need to take some me time. Like, just tell us that. We'll figure it out. Like, it's just, you know, if you're vague about it, we're just gonna think that's because you don't like us. Just be direct, be honest, be present, and be loving. It's kind of the biggest things. And the more time you spend with your autistic friend, the more you're gonna get to know them, and how to make them not just comfortable, but make them like happy, I guess, in the situation. And like I'm already a very happy person, as you know.
Yeah, so you are.
But like just, you know, the freedom to be completely myself, I don't have that with everybody. Just finding the people that, you know, I can be completely myself around you. And that's not something I say about a lot of people. So I think that's kind of all I had, unless you had any other questions.
I think.
Thank you so much, Adri.
Yes.
You're my favorite. You're one of my favorites.
Stop it.
And stop it. I'm really glad that, you know, she wanted to come do this video, and I'm glad that I had someone to do this with.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is really great. We'll probably have to do something again in the future. Probably. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed the video. Hope you all have a great rest of your day, and God bless.